You ever had that moment you're traveling, you do something totally normal, like make a gesture, say a phrase,
Mm.
and suddenly everyone's staring? Or worse, laughing. Maybe like flashing a peace sign the wrong way, or saying you're rooting for the local team.
Oh, yeah. Those moments hit hard. It really shows how, what's completely fine back home can be, well, a minefield somewhere else.
Totally. And that's what we're getting into today. This deep dive is all about navigating that um, fascinating, sometimes tricky world of global cultural taboos, the unspoken rules.
Right. We want to give you a bit of a shortcut, really.
Yeah, exactly. We've looked at some great sources for this, anecdotes from a well-traveled blogger, someone who's, been there, done that.
And also a pretty comprehensive university guide on cultural taboos. So kind of combining the personal stories with the broader research.
Exactly. And our mission for you, listening, is to arm you with some insights, help you avoid the awkwardness, sure, but more than that.
It's about showing respect, right?
Yes. And really immersing yourself properly without accidentally offending people. It just leads to, well, better, more meaningful trips.
Definitely. Deeper connections. So where should we start? Hashtag, tag, IIY. Unpacking everyday gestures and body language.
Okay, let's kick off with gestures. That peace sign we mentioned, 2 fingers up. Seems simple, right?
Uh-huh.
But, well, did you know that simple V can actually get you into real trouble?
Mm.
It really depends on your palm.
That's a huge one. It's amazing, really. A gesture that's so positive, like universally positive for many of us in the West,
Yeah.
can be incredibly offensive elsewhere. If you do that V sign, but with your palm facing inwards towards you,
Well,
in places like New Zealand, Australia, the UK, that basically means screw you. It's vulgar.
wow. Okay, seriously offensive then. Not just a mild mistake.
Not at all. Direct insult.
The blogger actually mentioned a traveler who nearly did this. Posing for a photo in New Zealand, palm facing in.
A close call.
Yeah. Luckily, their Kiwi friend spotted it straight away and was like, whoa, no, turn your hand around. Saved them some major embarrassment, maybe worse.
Thank goodness for local friends. It just shows, doesn't it? These things we think are universal often aren't. And there might be, historical reasons we don't even know about.
For sure. And it's not just hands, is it? Feet come into play, too.
Oh, absolutely. Think about Thailand, or many Arab countries, pointing the sole of your shoe, or even just your foot at someone. Major no-no.
Why is that?
Because the foot is considered the lowest, least clean part of the body. It touches the ground, the dirt. So pointing it at someone is deeply disrespectful. It ties into ideas about purity.
Right. Okay. And then the opposite end of the body, the head.
Exactly. In Thailand, again, you absolutely should not touch someone's head, especially an older person.
Why not?
The head is seen as the highest, most sacred part of the body. Touching it without permission is just incredibly disrespectful.
Got it. Sacred head, unclean feet.
Pretty much. And this idea of respect and hierarchy pops up elsewhere too. Like in some African countries, if you're talking to a tribal fief, you need to make sure your head isn't physically higher than theirs.
The literal sign of deference.
Exactly. And another specific one for men traveling. Be cautious about shaking hands with an Orthodox Muslim woman if she's covered. It's often best to wait and see if she extends her hand first.
Right. These aren't just minor etiquette points, are they? They reflect really deep cultural values.
Absolutely. Respect, modesty, purity. It's all woven together.
Okay, let's move from gestures to eating, something we all do. But even here, simple things like which hand you use can be huge.
Oh, definitely. This is a big one in many places. Think Morocco, India, lots of Muslim-majority countries. Using your left hand to eat. Highly disrespectful. It's considered unclean.
Because the left hand is traditionally for...
For personal hygiene.
Yeah.
After using the toilet. So the right hand is strictly for eating, for greeting people, for handling things you give to others.
Wow. That really shows how connected everyday habits are to beliefs about, purity and stuff.
It really does. It's not just a random rule.
The blogger shared a story about this, actually. She was in Morocco eating couscous and beef, and she briefly used her left hand while, I think, maybe taking notes or something.
Oh.
And her guide immediately, but kindly,
Right.
corrected her, said it was considered sinful in Islam to eat with the left hand.
Yeah, that's a powerful reminder, isn't it? How deep these things run.
Totally. And speaking of eating utensils, Japan and chopsticks. There's some really specific rules there too, right?
Yes, and they often tie back to funeral rites, which is why they're taken so seriously. Like never ever stick your chopsticks upright into your bowl of rice.
Why is that?
Because that's how food offerings are presented to the dead at funerals. Doing it at the table is seen as, well, invoking death. It's a really bad omen, very offensive.
Gosh. Okay, good to know. What else was chopsticks?
Passing food directly from your chopsticks to someone else's chopsticks? Another big no-no.
Also funeral related.
Apparently so. It mirrors a ritual where relatives pass cremated bone fragments using chopsticks. So, again, really negative connotations.
So what do you do if you want to share food?
You should hold up your own small dish or bowl and let the other person place the food onto that, or you place it onto their dish for them. No chopstick to chopstick contact.
Got it. And I heard pointing with chopsticks is rude too.
Yep, that's just considered bad manners, like pointing with a fork or knife would be in many Western cultures.
Okay, so lots of chopstick rules. Any other mealtime things to watch out for?
Well, shifting gears a bit, in Scandinavia, saying tack for maten, which means thank you for the meal after you eat, especially if you're a guest, is really important. It's like an absolute must. Shows gratitude.
Nice, a politeness custom. What about Indonesia?
In Indonesia, apparently eating while standing up is taboo. You should be seated. It reflects maybe a more mindful approach to dining.
Interesting. And Nepal. I heard something about sharing plates.
Yeah, that's a fascinating contrast. In Nepal, you generally don't share food from the same plate. Once someone has touched food on a plate, it's considered sort of ritually impure or just unhygienic for others. They call it jutho.
Which is so different from, say, Korea, where sharing dishes is totally the norm.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. It just highlights how incredibly varied concepts around food, sharing, and hygiene can be. #3, the unwritten dress codes and public demeanor.
Okay, moving on. Let's talk about how you present yourself in public. Dress codes, behavior, PDA, for example, public displays of affection.
Right, that vary hugely. In places like Ghana or Sudan, even things like hugging between men and women in public should be done cautiously. It can make locals feel quite awkward or embarrassed. Things are generally more private.
In South Africa has a really specific rule, doesn't it?
Yeah, apparently it's actually illegal for anyone under 16 to engage in PDA, which seems quite strict.
Wow. Has that caused any issues?
Well, the sources mention it's even led to protests, like teenagers organizing kiss-a-thons to challenge the law.
Huh. So if you're coming from, say, Europe or North America, where PDA is more common.
It's a definite adjustment, a real contrast in cultural norms about personal space and public behavior.
And dress codes. Modesty seems key in many places.
Definitely. Thailand, for example, especially when visiting temple swats, shoulders and knees absolutely must be covered.
What happens if they're not?
You might just not be allowed in. Or sometimes they might offer you something to cover up with. One story mentioned someone being given, like, paper sheets.
Paper sheets. Oh, okay, better to just dress appropriately from the start.
Probably wise, yes. It's about respecting the sacred space.
And what about generally for women traveling in certain regions?
Yeah, in places like Dubai, Southeast Asia, China, North Africa, India, the Middle East, generally dressing more modestly is recommended. It's about respecting local customs.
Does it apply to tourists too? Like, will you get in trouble?
Well, the example from Dubai mentioned police actually ticketing local women for wearing very short shorts or skirts. Tourists might get more leeway, but, why stick out or potentially cause discomfort? It's just more respectful to dress a bit more conservatively in public spaces.
Makes sense. Be a good guest. What about Vietnam? I heard beaches are different there.
Apparently so. Wearing a typical Western-style bikini on the beach isn't really the norm. More conservative swimwear is expected.
And if you don't?
One traveler mentioned getting a lot of unwanted attention stares, even people taking photos because she wore a bikini. So, yeah, it can make you feel pretty uncomfortable. Again, cultural norms around the body and dress are just different.
It's not just about clothes, though, right? Other public behaviors.
Right, like in China, you should never wear red to a funeral. Red is the color of joy, of celebration, totally inappropriate for mourning.
Good tip. What else?
Chewing gum in public, apparently frowned upon in Austria, Italy, Germany, Malaysia. Seems a bit random, but there you go.
Okay, and Spain.
Spain has a couple of interesting ones. Stretching or yawning, really, obviously, in public, is considered quite vulgar.
Vulgar, wow.
Yeah, and this one's huge if you're a sports fan. Never, ever wear a rival football team's jersey in a Spanish city, especially not on match day, but probably ever.
Oh, dear. Did the blogger mention this?
Yes, a traveler wore a Manchester United jersey in Madrid, got heckled, yelled at, felt so uncomfortable he immediately went and bought a Real Madrid jersey.
Talk about intense local pride. A quick way to learn that lesson.
Definitely. Don't mess with Spanish football loyalties.
Yeah.
Hashtag #IPARBIAVE. Navigating social interactions and superstitions.
Okay, this next one is a language trap and potentially very awkward. The word rooting.
Ah, yes. In Australia.
Right. So in America, you'd say, I'm rooting for my team, meaning you're cheering for them, supporting them.
Ah, totally innocent.
But in Australia.
Completely different meaning. And it's quite crude. To root for someone or a team there basically means, well, having sex with them or maybe even prostituting yourself for their success. It's really offensive slang.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
Huge. The potential for embarrassment is massive.
The blogger shared a story, didn't she, at a college soccer game in Australia?
Yeah. She innocently yelled out something like, "Come on, I'm rooting for you guys."
And the reaction.
Apparently, first just shocked silence, then hysterical laughter from the crowd. They knew immediately she was foreign and didn't understand, but still mortifying.
Oh, wow. A perfect example of how words can trip you up, even within the same language.
Exactly. Context is everything.
Now, switching gears again, social interactions in India. I hear locals can be quite direct.
That's often reported, yes. People might ask you quite personal questions soon after meeting you about your job, your income, marital status, maybe even your weight.
That sounds potentially intrusive to Western ears.
It can feel that way, yeah. But the key is understanding the cultural context. It's generally not meant to be offensive or nosy. It's often just how people get to know each other, understand your place in the world. It's part of their way of connecting.
So the advice is,
Try not to take offense. See it as part of the cultural experience. Maybe answer vaguely if you're uncomfortable, but engaging can actually lead to interesting conversations. It raises that question, doesn't it? How can we adjust our expectations instead of judging based on our own norms?
good point. Embrace the difference rather than resist it.
Yeah. It's an opportunity, really.
Okay, let's round off with some unique, maybe slightly superstitious no-nos,
Yeah.
like writing names in red ink.
Right. In Korea, never write a living person's name in red ink. Red ink is traditionally used for writing the names of the deceased. So, again, strong association with death, bad luck.
Got it. And gifts. Anything to avoid.
Well, apparently bringing wine as a host gift in France isn't always the best idea.
Really? Why not? Feels like a classic gift.
It can imply you don't trust their taste in wine or that their cellar isn't good enough. Might be better to bring flowers or chocolates?
Interesting nuance. What about Russia?
Flowers again. Specifically roses. Never give an even number of roses for a romantic occasion. Even numbers are for funerals. Always give an odd number 3, 5, 7 roses.
Wow, specific. Okay, odd number of roses in Russia. Noted. What about public habits like spitting?
Generally frowned upon in Germany and the UK, are considered quite unhygienic and rude.
Makes sense. And a really quirky one from Switzerland.
Don't mow your lawn on a Sunday.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's part of their strong tradition of Sunday being a day of rest and quiet. Noise regulations are pretty strict.
Okay, respect the Sunday quiet in Switzerland.
Ah,
And Mongolia. Very specific rules there.
crucial ones. Never touch a Mongolian person's head or their hat. And definitely don't mess with their horse. Head, hat, horse, all considered very important, almost sacred.
Head, hat, horse.
Got it.
Cambodia and photos.
There's a superstition there that taking a photo of exactly 3 people together is bad luck. The person in the middle is thought to be cursed.
So always take photos with 2 or 4 or more.
Seems like the safer bet, yes. Avoid the trio.
And finally, a superstition that might feel a bit closer to home for some listeners.
Yeah, unlucky numbers in buildings. Like how many buildings in the U.S. skip the 13th floor? Goes straight from 12 to 14.
Uh-huh. Very common.
And similarly, in China and some other East Asian countries, the number 4 is considered very unlucky because it sounds like the word for death. So you might find buildings without a 4th floor or 14th, 24th, etc.
Fascinating how these beliefs literally shape our environment. Wow. Okay, what a journey through just some of the world's taboos and unspoken rules. We've covered gestures, eating, dressing, talking.
It's amazing, isn't it, how much variety there is. And these aren't just random quirks, are they? They're usually tied pretty deeply to history, religion, local values.
Exactly. Understanding them isn't just about, not making a fool of yourself or breaking some minor rule.
Right. It's fundamentally about showing respect. about being open to different ways of seeing the world.
Yeah, and that's what leads to richer travel experiences, doesn't it? Connecting with people on a real level,
Yeah.
beyond just the tourist stuff.
Absolutely. It moves you from just observing a culture to actually carefully participating in it respectfully.
So here's something for you, the listener, to maybe think about. Recognizing all these specific sensitivities elsewhere, does it make you reflect on our own culture?
Hmm. Like, what are the unspoken rules and subtle taboos that we live by every day, maybe without even realizing it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
What are the things you just don't do in your own town or office or family? And what might those hidden rules reveal about our own values, our own cultural baggage, maybe? Something to mull over.